That's it. I didn't even have to do it.
See, I saved Dan the embarrassment.
Oh my
What's
God.
up, Lab Coat Agents? We've got a full house today. Dan, what's up, Dan? Dan's not even wearing a tie today.
Okay.
Damn, Dan. Good job. I love it. Well, today we've got Gabe Cordova from Firepoint with a badass shirt. Look at that shirt. Super sexy, bro. And
Dude, I'm just following you and all your cool hats. I got to get some better swag.
I match colors with you, man. Look.
I love it.
And we've got Barry Jenkins sporting the Lab Coat Agents black V-neck, which is not for sale. Barry, thank you for sporting that.
You're welcome.
And today, Gabe and I are going to talk to Barry about how he uses technology to level up his team. Whoa, Barry, what the hell is that on your left arm? Let me see that. Oh, look at that. Okay, what does this signify?
The tree planted next to the water.
Oh,
I don't have the water yet.
Dude.
Yeah.
That is
really good symbolism, but that's not why we're here, though.
Just what Barry thought you were going to do within the first 30 seconds of starting this. Barry, do you mind pulling up your shirt sleeve, showing us some guns? And
show me your guns, baby.
Oh my
right.
gosh.
I think we all had too much coffee. Barry,
More.
let's get to it, man. We're going to talk about how you use tech specifically for your team, because you are now ranked as the #1 agent for Better Homes and Gardens. Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know.
No, I mean, it hovers somewhere depending on when you ask and who you ask, in the top 5 consistently. So
Beautiful.
So is it Better Homes and Garden #1, just Better Homes and Garden stud?
there you go. That's, I mean, honestly, that's the only thing that matters.
That's it. I love that. That's
well,
keeping it up right now.
We can end now. I mean, basically,
Yeah, we're
with
all
that.
done.
I mean,
We're good. That's how you're going to get more money out of your database, just like that. Just be a stud like Barry.
All right, so Barry, you're using Firepoint and you're using Ylopo together as part of the whole package for your team, kind of like the complete digital marketing system.
that's correct.
Can you tell us why you're doing that and then get into how you're using it for your team?
Well, I mean, I think, this topic, those that are watching right now, to me, when you're looking at your database, you want to divide it, you want to market to it, and then you want to focus on the people that, want to talk to you about buying or selling homes. Right. And for me right now, what's interesting about the Ylopo and Firepoint partnership is Firepoint is uniquely poised by leveraging ponds. They're like shared folders. And so, with having a new constant in my business, which is people keep coming back to my website. 21 years in the business, I've never had people consistently come back. And so now that's created like a new resource, right? And it's really shifted my entire business, because now instead of just like we all used to do this 5 years ago. How many new leads do you get a month, right? And like that to me is the old way of running your business. Do I still get new leads every month? Yeah, I do. But like now it's like, how many opportunities are you generating a month, whether it's new or old that are coming back? And it's really flipped my business on its head. My ROI is through the roof because I'm spending less. So don't know if I answered your question. I kind of forgot what your question was. But
I'm offended. I'm upset now.
You know what's interesting about that? I was just in a meeting coming into this, and you're right. Like I've been doing this not near as long as you, but for quite a while. And when you're masterminding and chatting with other teams and other team leads, it's like, how many leads do you generate a month? How many leads do you generate a month? And what you're saying is the shift that you've made, which I think is genius, is it's really more about how many leads in your database are you engaging. That's really what you're focusing on now, is that engagement, even though you're still adding to it, right? You're always going to be filling that pipeline, but lead gen is such a massive expense. And what I'm learning from you and Ylopo, and I love, is you can engage and just increase that conversion or bring back all those people that you're talking about, which you're not having to spend the money to regenerate. So I love how you're focusing on that. And I'm excited to hear what you're going to say about this, because I haven't got to hear what you're going to talk about yet. So I'm excited.
Well, Barry, first, I want to know what's in that cup.
I'm not telling.
All right. Well,
No, but really, I drink Vita Cup coffee. It is coffee infused with vitamins. And it's got vitamin D3, which is really hard to get, and vitamin B and C and vitamin 12, B12. So, yep, that's what's in my cup, bro.
maybe later you can put a link to that in the chat. But
Affiliate link.
Why not? Let's get into the re-engagement part and how you're doing that with both Firepoint and Ylopo, because I have noticed that ever since we started re-engaging with our database a lot more, it's saved us a lot more money, because you know what I feel now? I feel like for years I was throwing away all my money. It's like I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what you're doing to re-engage these older leads and these newer leads?
Well, I mean, right now, my highest cost is running ads to my old leads. And then what I did was I broke up 36,000 contacts into 5 ponds. And so what I did was I categorized these 36-ish thousand contacts. I'm running ads to all of them. And, you know, depending on their categories. So like there's what one category is called Y priority. And that's just a word that means Ylopo ran an ad, they came back into Firepoint, and they saved a home, they shared a home, whatever. And so I've got like 1,300 of those in a pond. And then I've got, 800 Zillow and Realtor leads. And then I've got 27,000 leads in what I call the gold mine pond. And what's interesting about these ponds is I have had 3 or 4 agents recently recruit me. Like they're at another brokerage and they come to me and they're like, Barry, we want to be a part of what you're doing. And I say, great. If you join my team, I'm going to let you, that's keyword here, let you work in my ponds, right? It's not, I guarantee you 30 new leads a month. It's, I'm going to let you work these leads. And man, I'm going to tell you, I've got this one guy who he is just like, he's like shark fishing in the pond. Like I actually, before I got on this call, I looked in the accountability section of Firepoint, because you can look at each pond and see what everybody's doing. And he sent out one of the texts I wrote that said, just look in, see if you ever bought a home, don't see it in your file. He got like 90 responses, 90.
Whoa.
And because he sent out a mass text, and 90 responses, I'd say 10 were like, I hate you, don't ever contact me again. 30 were depressingly, I already bought. And then 20 or 30 were, 20 or 30 were, yeah, send me more listings. And then a few were like, yeah, I want some more listings. Can you send them to me? And so, it's just such a great problem to have, because you're segmenting what used to be the bane of our existence, all these old leads. And now they're segmented, they're being remarketed to, and we're sorting them. Gabe taught me how to sort, who saved a home in the last 7 days. And like, now we're doing all that. And, and it's leads from like 2015, 2016.
So what's interesting,
anyway,
make sure I heard you correctly, because I mean, obviously a lot of us team leads, we're always, recruiting and adding agents to our teams and everything. But I want to make sure what I heard correctly, this new agent or the new agents that you're bringing in, did we lose Barry? Oh, he's back.
No, he had to go.
No, you didn't.
You got it.
Yeah.
The leads that you're bringing in, so you're not bringing him in and then putting him in lead rotation. You're like, I'm going to come in, I'm going to let you work the leads in the pond. So basically you're forcing them to hunt and fish before you feed them to see who's hungry enough to actually do the work. It's genius. Love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and these are leads that, they visited a home, visited my website, they saved homes, they shared homes, they're engaging my product. And if you can just teach your agents how to have appropriate conversations, because the conversation they're used to having is, when would you like to see the home? And, my thing is, you really need to approach this result of them coming back. And you look at the activity timeline in Firepoint. You see in 2016, they registered for this. And then 2018, they did this. And now we're in 2019 and we're talking to them again. What you don't want to do is creep them out by reading their search history to them. What we try to do is approach it, like a job interview. I'm not going to tell you what I know about you, but I'm going to try to integrate it into the conversation somehow. It's kind of like I was on the huddle this morning, and I was talking to my team about how when I was courting my wife, I was trying to, I knew where she'd be, so I try to be in front of that place, right? And so now I'm waiting for her. And when she walked in, I wasn't like, "Hey, I've been waiting 3 hours for you." That's creepy, right? It's more like, "Oh, wow, you're here too. How are you?" Right? And that's kind of how we have to approach these database leads. You gotta have more game, Tristan.
Well, it's true, because we put all those call recordings there. There's a lot of times I just did a call night with Don Cordner up in Portland, using Ylopo, and we're doing all the follow-ups and stuff. And I was listening to the calls, and a lot of the times they were saying, hey, Tristan, this is Gabe with Don Cordner's team. I saw you were looking at 1, 2, 3, and it's like, whoa, no, you're putting them on the defense. It's like, how do you see this? It's just changing the approach. Like, just if you're seeing they're only looking in one area, you change your phrasing to go, hey, I happen to be an expert in these neighborhoods. Would any of those be of interest to you, or whatever it is? Like, tee it up for them,
right?
But let them pick. Like, you just can't come right out. Well, I saw you saved 4 favorites yesterday. Would you like to go see any of them? I checked. Like, it's too much information. So I like how you're giving us all those scripts.
That's a little creepy. I have a question for you, Gabe. Can you show us on the back end of Firepoint how you were showing Barry the sorting feature, where you can sort by the amount of days they're looking or when?
Yeah.
This way we have a clearer idea of what Barry's talking about, so that
people get logged in here.
Tips on that.
I can share mine if you want me to, Gabe.
Sure, go ahead.
I've got mine pulled up. All right. So, so one of the things they actually just released, so you can sort by name, and that's how it makes sense to me. You can sort A to Z, or you can flip this and do Z to A, right? Okay, now suddenly sorting makes sense. Well, what you do is you can come here and you come down to like favorites, and you notice a box pops up right here, and my internet's going slow. So now it's going to sort by favorites in the last 7 days. So again, remember A to Z, Z to A. I can flip this, and I can sort all of our favorites, people that have saved listings, and I can go from like a long time ago, back in 2017, all the way back up to just recently. But these are the ones in the last few days.
So now you can take it a step further. So stay right there, Barry. So let's say I've got, I'm an agent, and we're talking about 3 things you can do right off the bat to get more money out of your database. It's always easier to talk to somebody who's thinking real estate. So take that 7 days, Barry, and drop it to 24 hours. What I can say is now you've organized my database by the people who have saved the most amount of favorites, but that was in the last 7 days. In the last 24 hours. So now I can see, as I'm scrolling through here, Mary's had 3 in the last 24 hours. So if I was to scroll down through there, I can go through and pick the more active people, and and this is just in the last 24 hours. So 24 hours, AA's done none. So in 24 hours, those are the people at the top. That's who I'm going to focus on, right? I know what's going on, because maybe some of them were saving favorites 6 days ago. Now I said, just show me in the 24 hours, so I can really look and see who's been thinking real estate more recent, right?
Barry or Gabe, whoever you want answer this one. On the left side, you see these tags, and they're colored: hot, cold, nurture. Would you then, first, how does the system know, Gabe, which ones are hot or cold or nurture? And then would you attack the hot ones first, or the cold ones? Or what do you do, guys?
I think every team does a little bit different. So to me, the status is set by the agent, right? So, and everybody uses them a little bit different. To me, if it's my team and how we're training, if the agent's following it, nurture means I instantly know when I see nurture, we've had a conversation and they're buying in less than a year, right? I'm staying close to them and they're buying sometime soon, right? Cold, they're a real person, but they're not doing anything immediate. They may have been real standoffish, but they're a real person, but nothing immediate, right? Hot is we're having recent conversations. I need to stay on top of them, but we haven't got to the appointment or under contract yet. Unknown is a lead that's come in. I've never made contact, so I don't know where they go. That's how I do it. So Barry may be doing it differently.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's very similar. What I tell my agents to do, so I have like ISA teams and Wailopo's auto ISA texting. So I've got a lot of outreach. And so my agents sometimes wonder, what should I do? Right. Like, and so when a new lead comes in, they've got 3 to 4 weeks and 9 to 12 tasks that automatically generate over the course of a month. And it's all designed to take a new lead with that yellow new lead status. Let's see. So that's what it looks like when it's new, to change the status to something else, hot, nurture, cold. And I tell my agents, I say, all I want you to do is go through your new leads, try to talk to them. If you've got their right information and they want to buy one day, label them with the status hot, nurture, cold.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. And I used to say 9 months or 3 months or less was hot and 3 to 6, but I really wanted, it's such a subjective conversation, and agents are so instinctive anyway. You know, I didn't want them saying, and would you be looking to buy in the next 3 months? Right? Like, I don't want that. That's not an organic conversation. So I just told them, do hot, nurture, cold. And I told them, I'm going to let you keep 100 hot, nurture, colds. And I said, because you're not going to nurture 100 anyway. We know you're not. Anything that's not changed within 3 to 4 weeks, I move to one of my ponds. And you can see here where, look, see this fish right here. A lot of these, and I called it the gold mine because I was, I didn't want to call it like the stinky, muddy, gross pond. Like I wanted them to be stoked about it.
Yeah. Scroll up to the top there because I want to see something. So like instantly when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that second one down. They've saved 2 favorites and viewed 3 homes, but they're in a pond. So instantly to me, if I'm an agent or I'm a team lead, I'm like, why is this one in the pond? Right? So to me, what's going on? Hi, Megan, Ontario.
He was texted 4 hours ago.
Yep. So
by
perfect.
one of my agents.
Oh, it's Ontario.
Yeah, so we can see what's going on. And if I extend that 24 back to 7 where he had it, I can scroll further as I'm seeing the people that are in the pond and see what they've done in this time frame and start getting an idea. So I can just quickly identify, why are these people? If I'm an agent, I come in and I use these filters. I'm either going to go favorites or why priority. And I want to see who's in those ponds. And that's how I'm identifying quickly that low-hanging fruit that Wailopo and Firepoint have like put up to the top of the list saying now we can go, right? So this should be, the Brian O'Toole should be the most recent person that Firepoint or that Wailopo and Firepoint has had a priority alert. So when he goes into it, there will probably be a priority right on that lead history showing what's going on.
Sorry, I was just resorting it. Yeah, and you think about the action of saving a home on a website. I don't do that. Do you guys save? Like, if I'm going to do that, I'm vested now. I'm
right.
Like spending time on your website. I've got them at that point. So there's a lot of, so this was actually a priority lead. You're right, Gabe. What do you know? I guess you know the system. This was today, just before the webinar. So this is interesting, okay? So this is somebody from Vulcan 7, which is an expired database. I'm sending listing alerts and seller alerts and showing ads to them. And this afternoon, just before the webinar, this guy returned 5 times to the seller experience. He's checking how many buyers I have for his home value. And so that's why he triggered that alert.
Right. And I can see if I scroll down right here, when was the last time he's been reached out to by somebody on the team? So a personal touch, I'm already into June. Well, that was a behavioral text, right? So there hasn't been a personal touch to this guy. So this is one where I'm going to mention the team, right? I'm going to mention, is this in a pond? Oh, he's in a do not contact. Never mind.
Why? I wonder why though. I wonder why. Oh, this one was a weird one. So probably not the, this status do not contact is I guess just irrelevant for this conversation. I need to change it though.
Yeah. So this is one, let's say it wasn't a pond or something like that. Barry could just go into that description and go and mention the pond name, whether it was gold mine, it would notify the whole team. So but what we're talking about is quick, easy ways to identify that low-hanging fruit. So that's always going to put the most recent priority alert right at the top. So if you're an agent, you're going through your top 100. If you're on Barry's team, man, that's something I'm going to go do 2, 3, 4 times a day. Man, I'm going to live in that priority alert filter, right? And then I'm going to go to the next one. So you can always see.
So this is a cold lead that at 1:13 triggered a priority alert. This person looked at this house 5 times. And we've got the wrong phone number. So my agent at this morning is emailing us saying, what's the best way to reach you?
Yep.
Got it.
So you just go through. So it's really using those filters. Like there's a ton of stuff in your database, right? We're building these databases, and especially if you're, a team like Barry's and you're always re-engaging it. And then I'm a massive fan of Ylopo to re-engage, not just buy new, but are you using the tools that you have at your fingertips to identify who's in there? Because I think it's really tough for agents a lot of times. Like, oh, yeah, it's great. I'm on Barry's team, and he's got tens of thousands of leads and opportunities, but where do I go? Where are the best fishing holes? Okay, now I'm at the pond. What bait do I use, right? It's just getting in deep. All right, now you're at the pond. Use these filters. Play with these filters. All these tools are there. You shouldn't just have to feel like you're blindly throwing a dart at the board, right? Get in there and be strategic. Filter by those favorites, all the priorities. If you've gone through those, filter by the average price, right? Now I'm going to work smarter, not harder. Now I'm going to filter by the average price. I'm going to cherry pick the ones that haven't been reached out to recently.
Well, and I think, for me, a lot of these filtering tools weren't that relevant because out of 100 leads, X amount of them were coming back to me because of listing alerts I was emailing them. But now that I've got this new constant and I keep saying that, they keep coming back. And so now I have the ability to divert, attention and segment it. And it's pretty incredible, honestly. And so now when you look at these filtering and these sorting tools that Firepoint is offering, it really does, my agents that are coming on that have been out hunting on their own and are doing 10 to 15 units a year, and they see this opportunity, they're like a kid in a candy store. They're like, how many just visited our website today? And it really is, it's changing the game. And I think it's going to help us compete when and if Zillow's and Realtors, Realtor.com leads and stuff like that, the less access we have to them.
Yeah. Harry, I have a question here in regards to when you inputted your whole database into Firepoint. Did you then at that point decide that you were going to categorize your pond, or did you do it after that? How was the process? Because people that are trying to dump their database into a new CRM like Firepoint, they're wondering, well, how do I do it?
I didn't understand ponds. And I actually, Dave, you probably remember when I posted about it, because I was like,
yeah, I remember.
To me, a pond is like a shared access place. And I was like, okay, why would I have more than one? And then I started to dig into it, and I realized each pond is like its own user. It's like its own identity. So when I go into my, when I go into my ponds, so what I did was I decided, okay, what segments do I want? How do I want to search? And so, we have a pond so that around midnight to 6 a.m., if the leads come in, a different text message goes out. The lead is up for grabs. The text message is it's crazy I'm awake, but I know right now is not a good time to talk about your home. Can we talk later today? Right? And so and then priority, I just searched. I said, let me search for leads that haven't been worked that have the tag priority lead. And then when I found all of them, I changed the assigned agent to the pond, because this name right here is like a pond. And then I looked for old Realtor and Zillow. And then I just said, you know what, I've got to just do a big old, I don't know what to do with them. And so I've got 27,000 leads in that one. Right?
But what's great is there's just so many uses of this, right? How many agents are, you have past client ponds, you have, everybody I think in every market has a price point where their team almost doesn't work the leads, right? But they're very active, but you can put them in a pond, so that at least where they're at, and people can go watch and then claim them and see what's going on. There's so many cases where you can do these spheres, past clients, open house, whatever it is. I've seen people use ponds by area, right? Here are all the leads that are looking in this area if their team covers different areas. And it's a way to house leads that Barry hit it on the head. Agents aren't going to work a database that's more than 100, and you can even maybe say 50 or 60, right? Because first of all, and it's not a diss on agents, it's we're busy, and if I have 2 or 3 buyers that I'm actively showing property to, that's a majority of my day. I'm not prospecting as much as I need. And leads are expensive, systems are expensive. So you can house these leads in ponds, and more of your team is, when they have time, now they know exactly where to go, and they can feed it and fuel it. And when you keep agents concentrating on a smaller number of very active leads, I think that conversion goes up. And you mentioned your conversion's really high right now. And ponds really is allowing agents to go cherry pick the entire database that's not claimed by somebody. What agent doesn't want to go cherry pick a database of 30,000 leads that have been bought and paid for from Zillow, Realtor.com, PPC, Facebook, and he's paying Ylopo to remarket and retarget to re-engage all the time? Like it's an agent's dream.
All right, I have a question from the audience.
It really is. All right.
So anonymous attendee is asking, are you having your agents claim leads from those particular ponds? And if you are, what qualifications are in place to claim the lead?
Good question. Good question.
That is a great question. They have to talk to the lead. If they have a communication with the lead, then there's a claim button. And as the team owner, I give I can set the options. And what I've done is I've said, if you claim the lead, I need you to give me the reason why you get it. And so they actually have to spoke to the lead. And then I'm able to go in. Each pond has its own accountability. So like when I go into my accountability section, and see, this is where guys, like, when you've got a database, which is the whole theme of this webinar.
Going to ponds.
Ponds, sorry. Now I want to know if an agent comes to me and says, I don't have any business, and I go to the accountability section and I say, well, when I look in the priority leads, Monterio can say something, right? Because he's done his thing. I mean, look at this. He's had 3 inbound calls, 37 outbound texts, 199 inbound text messages in the last 30 days. And so I'm able to click on the leads that he claimed, and I can audit them if I want. And I can go through and I can look at all of them. And you see here where Monterio is a great example. He's really, none of these statuses are new. He's working through, and something has happened with each of these leads to where he's able to claim them. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think every team does a little bit different. I think most are like Barry. You have to have a meaningful conversation. Some are you actually have to set an appointment. Which you can see both sides. I mean, I've seen teams that the reason they want to do the appointment is, you had a great conversation, but then you claimed it, took it out of the pond, and then you didn't follow up again. You just expected them to call you to set their own appointment. So every team does it different. But what's great is, when they click on that, like, for example, right here, if Tracy comes to Barry saying, hey, I'm really upset, got nothing going on. Barry's like, well, you have access to this gold mine pond. It has 30-some thousand leads in the last 30 days, you've made 0 outbound calls. Like, I can't feed you. You got to be willing to feed yourself. Like, I've created this buffet, but you got to take the plate up and actually freaking fill your plate, right? There's obviously leads in here because in the last 30 days, you've been 27.
So good.
Oh, that's great.
So it makes it really easy to
good. Well, and then from an efficiency standpoint, Tristan, from my perspective, there are 27 leads that have been forgotten about historically, that in the last 30 days out of this particular pond, my agents have snagged, right? Like, that's such an efficiency play. Like, when I go to the priority tag, how many? 33. So just in those 2 numbers, that is 60 leads that have been forgotten about that my agents had a substantive discussion about. Like, dude, this is freaking money. It's so good. And I think that's why, for me, the Ylopo Firepoint integration is such an interesting combination, because you've got this new constant, and then you've got a CRM in Firepoint that is parsing it like nothing. Personally, I haven't seen. I don't know if there's another one out there, but I'm definitely geeking out over it.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing too, as well. What I love about the pond accountability is not only the things, you can even see the last time somebody logged into that pond, the last time they logged a call or an email in that pond. I mean, you've got some people, a lot of people were working it today, but then I thought did I see a July or something? Like, yeah, July, 6th or 22nd. So it makes it real easy too, as a team lead, when they're complaining, or, we all get somebody that bubbles up, who are you handing off? So you can just really see who's working for the business. Because what I love that Barry said earlier is when he recruits a new agent, you bring them in, all of a sudden you throw them into rotation. They're getting the Zillow leads, the Realtor.com leads, or one of these hand raisers. It's then really hard to go back the other way and teach them how to hunt. Like, they're just used to be giving. But it allows you to recruit to your team and find out who are the people who are willing to put the work in. That also, I think, to me, getting a new lead rotation, especially the Zillows, the Realtor.coms, that's an earned right. You've proven that you're willing to prospect and hunt and convert. So some of these, I don't want the ball dropped, right? Their hands raised. I don't want it to go backwards. So I love kind of how he's doing that and bringing them in and giving them the opportunity to go hunting and fishing, and you can track everything you're doing.
Yeah. Barry, I have a question.
Yeah, it's really good, man.
Do you take any agents out of the pond if you see that there's no activity in the accountability part on Firepoint?
So in the goldmine pond, no. In the priority and the Zillow and Realtor, yes. So I give everybody access to the goldmine, but the priority and the other one, no. Now, I will say that we have a new phenomenon forming, because now we've got agents that are thriving in the ponds. They're learning how to sort. They're going after the old leads, and it's creating an element where, like, when you look at this pond in particular, right? I'm just going to be candid with you guys. There's how many people have logged in today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 60 days ago, that number was probably 3. What's happening is we've got people that are valuing it, and then the FOMO is real, and people are like, well, wait, what am I missing out on, right? And now I've got 11 people that in the last hour have logged into this pond. And so, and now my wheels are spinning. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much money here. Like, it's the database, marketing to your database is everything.
Yeah. What's cool about
I just met with an.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, what's cool about what you're doing.
No, I was going to go on a tangent.
That large database, everybody's like, okay, because I had an agent say this, well, that's great, but the pond's picked over now. This freaking pond is what, 27,000? No, the remarket, just because these 20 leads were claimed, Barry doesn't stop pouring money into the remarketing, right? There are thousands and thousands. Every day, new priority alerts are getting put in there that are bubbling them to the top. So those agents need to stay hungry and watch this. That doesn't change. That's a great thing about ponds, is it's constantly circulating, right? And not everybody's hungry at the same time. And then they're finally bubbling up when something triggers and when their time happens. And so that they're always being nurtured, and all these eyeballs are on these leads. So what's really cool is that these 20-some thousand leads, when a lead finally bubbling, like a showing request, one of the gold mine, like the aha, yes, they did something, it notifies everybody in the pond too. So now there's healthy competition to get in and claim that lead and get it out, right? So the question, do I take people out? I agree with you 100% on that, Barry. I wouldn't take people out a lot of the prospecting ponds, because I'm not going to penalize somebody for not going in and taking something out if they don't need it, right? If they're doing a lot of their own stuff, because again, we only want people to go fishing when they need to replenish. So sometimes if I've got somebody that's capped out at 100, they might not be coming in because they're maxed out. They might be waiting to then dump it back into a pond before they go fishing. But definitely the new leads, to me, that's an earned pond that you want to be in. And I love the ponds, and I don't know how you do it, Barry. I'm curious. I saw that you had like a new Zillow pond. And so like we have a new pond, and to me, that pond should always be 0, right? That pond should always, that means there's a new lead in there. Whenever I see that there's a lead sitting in the new, like somebody needs to get it right away. Because once you get it, you reach out. Now they become an unknown or a hot or a cold, and they go somewhere. Either you're keeping them or they're putting them somewhere else. So I love the idea that I can quickly look in one spot to see have the new leads been claimed and worked. It should always be 0.
Well, and every 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going through my agents 100, right? They're 100 leads, and any leads that they haven't spoken to that are still in the new status, that are 21 to 30 days old, I select all of them and I move them into one of these ponds. And what's great about this is every single one of these agents like a week ago, every single one of these agents got an email that said 52 leads have just been moved into the priority lead pond. And then I did the rest of them in the gold lead pond or gold mine pond. And I said, 80 leads have just been, and so then they all come in and it's like, these are month-old leads that nobody's called. And now all of a sudden there's this frenzy. So it creates this dynamic where everybody is, and it becomes this massive efficiency play, which is the whole idea of the webinar, which is the database.
Sorry, my light keeps going off here. We've all fed fish, right? You take the fish food, you throw it in the fish tank, and all the fish are just doing the thing, and all of a sudden they're like, and they're trying to see what the new food is. It's funny because we'll move leads around in ponds as well, and they're probably already leads. So like what we did when we started using ponds is a lot of our agents, we were not doing what Barry was saying and still really aren't to the best of our ability, but agents had databases of 400, 500, 600 people. Barry knows probably better than anybody. 80% of those leads are forgotten. They might get a mass email every now and then because the agent wants it to look like they're working them, but they're not. But you take these leads that the agents already have access to that they're not working, and you throw them in ponds, and then every single time, I kid you not, appointments are getting set. Deals are getting made out of leads that have just been sitting there, but we threw them into a pond now where there's healthy competition to actually prospect them and find that low-hanging fruit. And it's once the agents had them though, they didn't really care. Like it was always about getting the new stuff, right? So it's almost like if I ever asked an agent to leave my team or an agent left my team, I could take their database of 200, 300, 400 leads that they're like, this is all crap, these are terrible leads. I would reassign them to agents or now put them in a pond. There's always a couple deals, like the closings, not just appointments, but closings that happen out of it because it's a fresh set of eyes or more eyes now on these leads that one agent had already deemed to be a terrible lead or a garbage lead. But now when you have ponds, you've got all this happening and now it's just looked at completely different.
It really is. Really is. And it's way more fun, honestly, because the new lead dynamic is very, very challenging to manage because I'm not with my agents all the time. I can't manage every phone call, and I can't really depend on whether or not they really tried to convert the lead. Whereas as a team leader, now I can sit down and use my CRM, Firepoint, to manage this activity. And at a high level, I can scientifically say these people aren't good for this type of lead, because now I'm able to do it from, like I said, the science side instead of the art side, which is, well, did you try this close? And you did try this, and, you need to call them more. And, so it makes it to where I actually can do my job from my house instead of having to live at the office from 9 to 9 every day. So.
All right. I have one question from the audience here by Alan. Alan Donald's asking, can you talk more about the seller experience?
It's just the seller experience is a Ylopo tool that when someone that owns their home comes in either through a seller ad or a seller alert, which is like market information, and then they hit this landing page and it pulls my Firepoint database. So Ylopo searches my Firepoint database for anyone that's searched for a home like theirs and says like, hi, John, after scanning the database, I've got 104 people looking for a home like yours. And so it's just another call to action. And so in this scenario, we're pulsing this homeowner with data about his home, active listings, sold listings, how many buyers I have for their home. We're texting the seller that information, and he keeps coming back. So this guy in that example came back 5 times in a row and triggered an alert like, this person is researching their stuff. We need to reach out. That's what that is.
All right. Perfect, man. I love it. All right. Any other questions from the audience? Let me see here. Just to check if I didn't miss one or two. I've been asking them as they come through. Good. Ryan Lally saying spear fishing is the best way to fish. Become a hunter. Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
Well, I mean, what's crazy about this too, though, is I think agents are so just waiting for that low hanging fruit, waiting for that hand raise. And the tools are so great. It's not even like, I hate to even say it's hunting, right? Because with especially with what Barry's doing with the Ylopo engagement and then the filtering options of Firepoint, you're not cold calling. You're literally reacting based on information that you're getting on their experience. They're looking at homes, they're saving favorites, they're logging on, they're doing buying signals, and it's allowing you to just offer service. You don't even have to be this like cutthroat salesperson. It's just be a human and offer service, because you see that they're doing a lot of this on their own. How do you offer service? And I think that's why most agents got into the business anyway, right? To offer great service and help people through the biggest purchase of their life. It's not to be like a cold calling dialing machine. And the way that Barry's done this, and he's filtered and segmented his database into ponds paired with the remarketing and retargeting, he's allowing them to go in and cherry pick the most active leads and just offer your service to them. So
right. And actually that word service is a big deal, because when you're working your database, I had an agent that, he's doing what I've asked. He's working the database and he's calling them and saying, are you still looking for a home? And I said, look, that's better than nothing. Okay. But I said, you need to understand, if you don't know this person and they know that you're a real estate agent, they're hearing, can I sell you something? Okay. And I said, so instead of calling them and saying, have you found what you're looking for? Say, I'm going through my files. I'm cleaning up my database. I don't see that you ever bought. Can you just help me? I want to check off, right? So it's a service-minded conversation. They're guard drops, and you're able to engage. And so really, we own that. I tell my agents all the time, you know how when you call Verizon or whatever the cable company is, the person's not rude, right? They're nice, but they're not stoked. They're not making any money off this service call. They're kind of like, you're kind of bothering me, but I'm nice. What's up? And like, that's kind of how you have to work your database. You can't go in and I believe Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com have trained us to think that the only good lead is the lead that answers affirmingly when we say, can I go show you that house? And they tricked us, because that's like, there's no money in that, the money is not in just that conversation. That's luck. If I call a lead and they say, I'm getting on my soapbox, I'm sorry.
I think that's just human nature, right? Look at what Amazon's preying on us too. We the Prime, 2 days, 1 day, a few hours. So I think we're just all naturally trained to want a quicker reward, and changing the mindset of the people that we're working with, whether it's teams, brokerages, or agents.
Right.
They need to understand that it's a long-term play here.
Yeah, I think anytime, and I know Tristan, you've heard me chat about this, it's focus on the service, not the sale. And it's changing that script. Mm-hmm. When would you like to go see it? I saw that you had some questions about 123 Main Street. How may I be of service? How can I help you understand that property better? To me, is a way better way of saying, or when would you like to go see it? When I say, when would you like to schedule time to go see it? I'm inserting myself into it as the agent to sell it, which isn't a bad thing, but really the focus is on me, not them. When would you like to go see it? Because I need to see if it works for me. Like, I don't think it's like, how can I answer any questions or be of service? Get them talking, then it's easy to set the appointment. Oh yeah, that's awesome. If I can get this, this, and this, and when's the best time? I think you got to get them talking from a service standpoint first before you're focusing on the sale. And as agents, I think it's way easier to focus on that service, right? And I think for some reason we're a little bit afraid to do that, and I'm not sure why. So yeah, I think it's a great way to.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Anything else you guys want to add? Any questions I missed? Let me check. I answered that one.
When they engage, are they texted through AI and then re-engaged that way as well?
Yeah, that was my response to.
Got it. You're answering a question. Okay, got it.
Yeah. We got those. Some of them I didn't ask because you guys were talking there. All right. I love it. Anything you want to add, Gabe?
The only thing I'd really like to say, we're talking about the things you can do instantly to generate money out of your existing database. The ponds are great, segmenting, filtering, and all that. If you're doing that, one thing I think, if you guys aren't doing it, get into your database, whether you're a team lead or an agent, find those past clients. They should be tagged, so easy. Don't forget it. Make sure those past clients are still getting the love. I think it's easy to dive into. If you're a new agent on a team or a new team lead, find agents that have left, find out, do they have past clients that haven't been followed up with? Who's been forgotten in the database? That's what Barry's done a good job of, is who's been forgotten and where can I put them to where I have eyes on them, right? He has a large team, so ponds work really, really well. If you're not to the stud level that Barry is right now in a smaller team, guys, start with those past clients. that are in there. We all have them. Get them in there and make sure that you know where they are and what love are they getting. I think that's an easy one to start with, especially if you're a smaller team. If you're a bigger team and you're dropping that ball, which most of you probably are, that's a huge one to figure out whether you're putting those past clients in a pond or whatever it is. Make sure that that segment is easily identifiable so you can see the touches that are happening with them. And I think ponds is a great way to go with that, to keep an eye on them. But you've got to be able to identify people in the database and start there. Like all these tools are fantastic, but you've got to understand some of the tools to use them. And the basic filtering and sorting organization is where you start to find the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, Gabe, any
And
discounts?
mass texting. Oh, sorry, Tristan.
Any discounts on Firepoint, Gabe?
Oh, yeah, we always have our, let me put a link in here. If you guys use, let me find it. I should have it. I'll post it here. But yeah, I mean, obviously we have our lab coat where we'll waive all the setup fees to get you guys going. So it's easy to come in here and get up and rolling. If you want to check us out.
Yeah, while Gabe is putting that up there, Barry, I was going to say the same thing you were going to say. Go ahead.
No, you go.
You do it.
No, you go.
No. Go.
I was just going to say, like, when you're doing all this, like, mass texting to me is a deal breaker. And I know that I just segmented like 30% of the popular CRM population right now, but like, I just don't know how anybody can get through a database type business and not have the ability to text people targeted messages at scale. So to be able to text 100 or 1,000 people, I tell my agents, don't text more than 50 at a time because you're going to get a lot of responses. It's going to be hard to pay attention to all of them. Yeah. But that's 90-10 in your day. Segment, sort, mass text, rinse and repeat, find the people that want to talk to you, go connect with them. And it's super easy.
Yeah. And something of value, right? I think mass texting, was it Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Use it smart. Don't just start sending crap to people. Use it smart. One of my favorites, look and see people are looking in a certain area. If it's, send something of value. Maybe it's a great new restaurant or something there to let them check out. It doesn't always have to be specific real estate related. We're talking about past clients. You should have their accurate phone numbers, right? Mass texting, start segmenting your database so that every August 1st, I'm going to mass text everybody I've ever closed in August. Happy house closing anniversary month. I'm always here if you need anything, right? There can be things of value that you can do one-to-many. Mass texting is one of them, but just be careful what it is. Don't mass text your freaking database every time you have a new listing, right? You're going to piss them off.
Well, and I say give 3 times and then ask once. And that's sneaky though, because asking them, have you found the house you like, is still asking them for something. I'm asking them to think, reason, and give me information. And what I tell my agents is give them, I know you're looking in this neighborhood. There's a few I think you missed. I know you like this city. There's some open houses. I know you're buying. Here's an article on my blog. Like give, and then ask.
Yes. And there's a question that came up. Is it dangerous with do not call list? Absolutely. People can unsubscribe. I agree with Barry. I would keep the list small. Make sure it's what text you're sending to what people. The way we do it also is not really a mass text. We're not sending one text to 50 people at one time. We create them through campaigns where it's kind of dripped out over the course of maybe 30 minutes or depending on how big the list is. So it's sent one at a time for you. So we've taken that. But it's just as mass email, everything like that. Anytime you're doing a one-to-many mass action, make sure you know who you're sending it to and what you're sending, because the last thing you want to do is damage your phone reputation, your email reputation, domain reputation, anything like that.
Well, yeah, they got to opt in to this. Like they got to be leads that it's not just like random people from a club I'm in that I'm mass texting. It's people that have registered on my website or Zillow or, something to where when they hit submit, there's a really long legal thing. Like we're going to call you for up to a year or 2 years. They've signed up for it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for your time. I would like to do a part 2 to this, guys, because I'd like to, Barry, you just recently started using Firepoint. So I'd like to do something like 2 months from now to see where you're at, what you've tweaked.
Okay.
So that we can see where you're at as well. One last.
My tattoo will be done too. But
well, and we're working on some deeper integrations with Ylopo to really service a lot of the activity too. So be really cool to see what he does with that information and how he uses it.
All right, guys.
I
Thanks.
think they're turning it on the next couple of days. So, all righty.
Go
Bye.
drink some coffee.
Awesome, guys. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right.